No one heard the fawn's silent cries. The smoke was a thick, suffocating blanket, stealing the air and the light. The forest, once a vibrant tapestry of green and life, was now a raging inferno, a monster of orange and black. Animals fled in terror, a stampede of panic and survival. But the fawn, barely a few days old, lay paralyzed by fear and confusion. Its mother was gone, lost in the chaos. Its legs, still wobbly and unsure, refused to move. It was trapped, a tiny, helpless soul awaiting a fiery end. The roar of the fire was the only sound it knew, a deafening drumbeat of doom. Its eyes, wide with terror, reflected the dancing flames that crept closer and closer. In a small farmhouse at the edge of the woods, a family was in a panic of their own. Firefighters had given them the evacuation order. Leave now. They grabbed what they could: photos, documents, their frantic dog. But one member of the family was missing. Mittens, a small house cat with sleek black fur and emerald eyes, was nowhere to be found. They called her name, their voices tight with fear. "Mittens, Mittens, we have to go." But there was no reply. The smoke was getting thicker, stinging their eyes and choking their lungs. With heavy hearts and tears streaming down their faces, they were forced into their car. They had to leave her behind. The choice was impossible, a wound that would never heal. As they drove away, the little girl in the back seat looked at the house, her face pressed against the glass, whispering her cat's name. But Mittens had not run. She had not hidden. While the humans were panicking, the cat was on a mission. She had heard something the humans could not, a faint, desperate bleating from the edge of the woods. It was a sound of pure, unadulterated terror, a sound that resonated with some ancient, protective instinct deep within her. The fire was hot on her paws, the air thick with ash, but she pushed forward, her small body a stark silhouette against the glowing embers. She followed the sound, weaving through burning underbrush and fallen trees, her senses on high alert. That's when the firefighters saw her. They were trying to create a firebreak, a desperate last stand to save the farmhouse. Suddenly, a small black cat shot out from the direction of the house, not away from the fire, but towards it. They shouted, trying to wave her back, but she ignored them. She ran a short distance into the burning woods, then stopped, looked back at them, and let out a demanding, urgent meow. Then she ran again. One of the firefighters, a veteran named Dave, felt a strange pull. "What is that cat doing?" he muttered to his partner. It wasn't the behavior of a scared animal. It was deliberate. It was a message. "I'm going after it," he said, against his better judgment. He followed Mittens into the smoke-filled woods, his heart pounding. The heat was immense. He could barely see. But the cat was his guide, a small, determined shadow leading him deeper into danger. Finally, she stopped beside a fallen, smoldering log. And there, huddled behind it, was the fawn. Its fur was singed, its body trembling uncontrollably. But its eyes were the worst part. They were milky and unfocused. Dave realized with a jolt that the fawn was blind. It had been born blind, and it had been completely helpless, unable to flee the flames. Mittens stood beside it, nudging the fawn with her head, her meows now soft and reassuring. She had refused to leave. She had faced the fire not to save herself, but to guard this helpless creature from another species, a creature she had no reason to care about. Dave scooped up the tiny fawn, its fragile body feeling impossibly light in his arms. Mittens immediately rubbed against his leg, purring loudly, as if to say, "Thank you. He's safe now." He carried the fawn back to the fire truck, with Mittens trotting faithfully at his heels. The other firefighters stared in disbelief, their tough exteriors melting away at the sight. They had been fighting a monster of nature, but here was a miracle of nature, an act of courage and compassion that defied all logic. They gave the fawn water and tended to its minor burns. Mittens never left its side, curling up against its trembling body in the back of the truck. When the fire was finally contained, the family returned to a home that was, miraculously, still standing. Their reunion with Mittens was a blur of tears and relieved cries. But their amazement grew when Dave explained what had happened, showing them the tiny fawn now resting peacefully in a makeshift bed. The little girl who had cried for her lost cat now had tears of wonder in her eyes. Her pet wasn't just a cat, she was a hero. The fawn, named Ash by the firefighters, was taken to a local wildlife sanctuary. But the story didn't end there. The sanctuary workers reported something incredible. Ash was recovering well, but he was only calm when a recording of a purring cat was played in his enclosure. Sometimes, courage isn't found in the roar of a lion, but in the quiet determination of a small cat who refuses to let the darkness win. It's a reminder that in the face of the greatest disasters, the smallest acts of love can create the most profound miracles.